WNOV 860 and W293CX 106.5, Milwaukee.
Coming up on the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, we'll be discussing how to turn that plot of land in the backyard into a garden.
We're also going to talk about 5 lost vegetables you should consider growing in your garden. And we have an interview with Jenny Peterson. She's a breast cancer survivor. She's also the author of the Cancer Survivor's Garden Companion, Cultivating Hope, Healing, and Joy in the Ground Beneath Your Feet.
Also, your questions are welcome on the ivorganic.com hotline. Tell your friends that Garden Radio is back on the airways. It all starts right now.
You're tuned in to the only vegetable gardening radio show in Milwaukee with your host, Joey Baird, who grew up in the country but now lives closer to the city, and Hallie Baird, who has always been a city girl. Combined, they have over 25 years of gardening experience who believe in simple gardening practices. A gardener for all gardeners, founders of the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, where they created over 800 how-to garden videos to teach others how to grow more of what they eat. Join them for the next hour as they discuss vegetable gardening and more.
Wherever you may be listening, however you may be listening, whether on 860 AM WNOV or W293CX 106.5 through the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com radio tab or social media, the simple radio app or that TuneIn app. It is the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show live here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We are happy you have joined us today. I am your host, Joey Baird. Next to me is my wife, best friend, gardening partner, co-host,
Hallie Baird.
The WisconsinVegetableGardener.com is the destination for all things gardening. There's a number of great companies that have backed us, that are making this show possible for us to be on the air, to bring this information to you weekly.
Nassala Kombucha is the executive sponsor of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. Nassala is made in Wisconsin with local tea and natural herbs. Look for it in the refrigerator aisle at your local grocer. If you don't see it, ask for it, because if it's not Nassala Kombucha, it's not kombucha. Find more information at nassala.com.
You can contact us in a variety of different ways to interact with us with your gardening questions. One is simply call us here at the on the ivorganics.com 3-in-1 plant guard hotline. Ivy Organic is?
Ivy Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard naturally protects plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents. Protects newly installed plants and trees. Shields pruned and damages surfaces for use on your roses, fruit, and nut trees, ornamental trees, and shrubs. This product is non-toxic, environmentally safe, and organic. For more information, visit ivorganics.com.
414-444-5250 is that number, and you do not have to wait until the last 10 minutes of the program. You can call at any time with your question. We will accommodate you because you are why we are here. We want to help you. You can just send us an email at twvgradio@gmail.com with that information. You can also just simply tweet us at TWVG on Twitter. Well, a couple of things. We did a little homework this past week. We had a caller last week that asked if M.I. Gardner, the official seed supplier of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, had a phone-in, call-in order line.
Right, and he wanted to know if he could call in to place an order. And unfortunately, they do not have that option, so you would have to place that order online.
But in the second segment here, we will have the opportunity for you to win a $10 gift card through migardner.com. The only criteria is you have to have a valid email to get the voucher for that. They have over 300, I believe now 320-something varieties of heirloom and organic seeds. We'll talk more about that, but keep that in mind. Don't call now for it. But if you have a question, you can call the IV Organics hotline at 414-444-5250. But we'll tell you when to call in to be caller number 4 to win that prize. We do public talks each week, and this week, finally, it's time that we're going to talk about growing the best tomatoes in New Berlin Public Library, 6 p.m. this Wednesday. That's free to attend, as well as Mead Public Library next Saturday, 1 p.m. Straw bale gardening, 210, maximizing your garden space regardless of the size.
And if you're trying to figure out where Mead Public Library is, that's in Sheboygan, so you may not be close to you, but if you're listening from that area, feel free to stop by.
You can also click on the Come See Us tab on our website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, to see where we will be, where you might be. We've got a number of talks lined up, and if you have a garden group, club, organization, business, gathering, that you would like us to come talk at, you can send us an email at twvgradio@gmail.com. You can simply click on the speaking request tab at the top of our website, and that lists all the talks that we do. And we can also accommodate you for specific topics in which you want us to talk to your group about. Well, we've got a jam-packed show, so we're going to get into it. And we're going to talk about how to set up that garden. When we met with staff and management here at WNOV, one of the ladies said, I'm really happy that you guys are going to be on the radio because I bought a house many years ago and there was a garden there. And I've always wanted to garden, but I just don't know where to start. And I believe that's where many people are at. They've got that plot of land in the back, but they don't know where to start. Or there was a garden there 30 years ago, but they don't know what to do.
Right. So it is very, it's not complicated, but if you don't know where to start, it just seems like a lot of questions. Yeah, and overwhelming. So the first thing you want to think about is sun. Sun is what plants need to grow. So right now is kind of a good time to take a look at your yard and think, okay, I have this spot here, it gets decent sun, but then you also want to think about trees, shrubs, anything that's going to fill in with leaves at some point once it gets warmer out, and how that could affect that sunny area.
Now, Shauna Coronado was a guest a couple of weeks ago, and she had a little saying. What was it? If it's partial shade,
right? If you grow it for root or fruit, or for roots or fruits, that needs full sun. If you grow it for the greens, then that can take partial shade.
And partial shade, we're talking 4, 5, 6 hours.
Right. 5 to 6 hours of sunlight, and then anything that is full sun is going to be that 8+.
So, a simple way to do this is, let's say it's a sunny weekend. Most people work during the day, so it doesn't really accommodate that way. So on a Saturday morning, Sunday morning, if it's sunny, get up and go in the backyard or the side yard. You can plant anywhere as long as it falls within the ordinance of your municipality. And take a marker, a cup, something, and put in the ground where the sun is at that time, right on there, 7:15 a.m. Go to your stuff, come back at like 10 or 11. Mark it again so you can see the pattern of the sun over the area in which you want to put a garden in. Now, a couple of things about putting a garden in. The most economical way is to do in traditional ground, but it is the most work that goes into it. There's a lot of work that goes into it to get it started.
Right. You also don't know what you're getting yourself into necessarily. If you might have clay soil, you might have toxic soil.
Right, and we'll discuss that.
Right.
Now, the easiest and quickest way to put a garden in, but one of the more expensive ways, is raised beds, because you're purchasing the material, the embraces,
But it's an investment.
It's an investment.
You buy the right lumber, and you're going to have something that's going to be there for a long time.
Right, and you instantly put soil in it, and you plant right away, weed-free, for the most part, whatever the nature drops in on you, the birds and stuff, and blows in. And containers kind of fall in the middle based on the type of container in which you're going to grow in, determines how much you're wanting to spend or what you're wanting to grow as well.
And then there's the straw bale option, which is essentially a container garden, but kind of a raised bed at the same time.
Both, yeah, it works very well. So we talked about sun. Now, regardless if you choose to grow containers, raised beds, traditional ground garden, straw bale garden, we need to call Digger's Hotline. Because they're going to mark the utilities under the ground in which you're going to plant on top of. If you're going to dig, they need to mark so that you know whether or not you can dig in that area. Now, why would one need to call them if you're installing raised beds or containers or straw bales?
Well, first of all, Digger's Hotline is a free service, and that is provided to you, so you don't have to worry about having to pay any money. And they're available during the week, so you can call them, and they usually come out within 3 business days of when you call them. And the reason why you want to check into it, even if you're going to use containers or raised beds, if you put a raised bed over a power line and they need to dig in there for that power line, they don't care about your raised bed. So you want to keep that in mind. You want to keep in mind that you're going to put something semi-permanent, almost permanent there, especially if it's a really heavy container or something like that.
Giant grow bag.
And you don't know, it could happen during the middle of August when everything's blooming and producing vegetables. So you want to make sure you keep that in mind, that there could be a power line or electrical line or who knows what underneath it.
But it is the law. You have to call them if you're going to do anything. And again, it's free, so it doesn't cost you anything. And they're very accommodating. They'll come out, 72, you call 72-hour business hours before you intend to dig, and it works very well. So once you've established that, once they've said, okay, you can dig here, you can plant here, wherever it is, side yard, backyard, front yard, wherever, we want to figure out, if we're going to traditional ground garden, we want to figure out what kind of soil we're dealing with, because not all soil in the backyard or in any yard in Milwaukee, southeast Wisconsin, or the world is safe to grow in.
Right. So there could be toxic things. There could be just bad soil. There could be clay soil. So you want to keep that in mind. So you could get a soil test through your local university extension. I know they're pretty cheap. So you want to look into that. An
investment that's worth getting to know whether or not the soil that you're planting in is safe, whether it has high lead levels, toxicity, there was a gas station there, or a spill of some sort 35 years ago and you moved in 20 years ago. So a peace of mind. So knowing that what you're growing is going to be safe for you to consume and it won't hurt you.
Now, if that's something you don't want to do, you could always take the risk and plant something small and see what happens. But if you want to,
you're going to do it for real.
If you're going to be real about it, then we would suggest a soil test. And then if that's something you're not interested in, then there's other options like the raised beds and the containers.
So, okay, we've got all that figured out. Well, all that has checked out. We're good. We're going to do a ground garden. If we're going to do a ground garden, we want to mark off the area. The Diggers Hotline said, okay, it's safe to dig here. You've done a soil test. Soil is good. You don't really want to till it and many people will till religiously, and that's your preference. Our preference is not to till. Our preference is to do the manual labor, go in there with a shovel, garden fork, hard-time garden fork, and loosen the soil up, remove the roots, because roots propagate. If you go in there with a tiller and chop those roots up, then all of those roots many roots propagate from root follicles. And those root follicles now have, instead of one plant, you've got 45 plants because the tiller tines have chopped them up and distributed them all over the area in which you're going to plant.
Now, if you've tilled for the past 25 years, we're not telling you you're wrong.
No.
It's just something that we've learned about, and we also learned that it disturbs the ecosystem of your soil a lot less if you go in there by hand and turn it over.
But it's a decision that each gardener needs to make for their own particular growing area. So, with that being said, we obviously want to plant things we like. We've talked about this in an earlier episode, but let's not just plant okra because Grandma always planted okra and you don't like okra. Let's be smart about this and utilize that space, because not everybody is going to use 1,800 square feet in the backyard. Maybe you only want to dedicate 150, 25 square feet, 16 square feet. You want to make the most out of that you can, and we're going to talk about that next week. We're going to do the math for you to show you how much you can actually pack into small areas. So keep that in mind. Tune in next week for that. But we'll crunch the numbers for you on that one. But we want to utilize the space we have available.
So you want to start kind of small, though. Not necessarily too small, but if you've never gardened before, if you've never grown vegetables before, don't take on something that's super huge. Just think about what you want to grow.
Because you will get frustrated.
Right, you will get frustrated, you will get upset, and then you'll be like, gardening is not for me. So if you start smaller, you're going to have little successes. You're still going to have failures. We still have failures.
You're not a gardener unless you've killed about 1,000 plants.
Right, pretty much. So
some of you are much better gardeners than we are.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're still going to have failures, just like we still have failures. But if you start smaller, you're going to be more encouraged to grow your garden next year.
So once, let's say everything has gone according to plan. You've done this on paper. You've done all this stuff. It's worked out great. You got to prepare for predators and bugs. And one of the easiest ways that we have found to prepare, you want to be proactive instead of reactive. It's hard to put that tomato plant back on the vine when the raccoon has tore it down after it's already happened. So a barrier, as well as a preventative measure such as Bob-X, an animal repellent, is two great additions to ensure what you're growing you're actually going to get.
And if you're not sure about possible pests in the area, ask your neighbor. We don't deal with deer, but there's many people around us who deal with deer. So you kind of have to take that into consideration. We deal with rabbits, and not as much anymore, but we have in the past. So you have to kind of think about what might possibly come, do a little bit of planning ahead.
Right. We surround our gardens with poultry wire. It's we get a 100-foot roll for about $37. It's an investment, but since we have installed that, rabbits don't get in the garden anymore. And it's hard to get green beans or lettuce or broccoli or anything to grow when rabbits continue to eat it down a day after you plant it. So put the investment in, and it will pay for itself years to come after that. When we come back from the break, we will tell you how you can win a $10 gift certificate to M.I. Gardener, as well as 5 vegetables that you probably have not thought about growing that we would highly recommend you consider growing in your garden this year. We'll be right back after this.
Never miss a thing. Sign up for the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener newsletter. Go to thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com and click on the newsletter box.
The international food selection at Woodman's is more than just salsa and soy sauce. We stock a huge selection of foods and ingredients from all over the world. Whether it's Asian, Latin American, European, or Middle Eastern, Woodman's has it. Plus, each store has its own unique selection. With Woodman's, you don't need to visit multiple stores to get what you need. We have everything you need under one roof and at a great price.
Do you want your next raised beds to be easy, functional, and beautiful? The Embrace helps you create the garden you've always wanted. Finally, raised beds that everyone can assemble and enjoy. No tools needed. Just slide any lumber into the Embrace corner, fill with your favorite soil mix, and you're ready to plant. Made from 100% recycled steel right here in the USA. And a portion of every sale helps to build school and community gardens all across the country. Let the Embrace help you create your next raised bed. Grow beautifully with the Embrace. Available at local garden centers and online at artofthegarden.net.
Hodgson Mill, 125 years of experience producing stone ground organic flour and cornmeal made from premium quality whole grains. Family-owned company, continual standards that are non-GMO, organic at the highest safety levels, offering a wide variety of flours, pasta, baking mixes, flaxseed, and more, even kosher and gluten-free options. Found at most local grocers like Woodman's. For more information and recipes, visit hodgsonmill.com. That's HODGSONMILL.com.
Hi, I'm John Lewandowski, retail manager of Blue Mel's Garden and Landscape Center. Now, I'm not going to tell you about our awesome dome-grown plants, our beautiful pottery, or our 40 varieties of landscape materials. What I am going to tell you is that Blue Mel's is a local, independent, family-owned garden center that truly cares about your garden or landscape project. So if you're looking for that one garden center that actually cares about you, come to Blue Mel's Garden and Landscape Center. We've been treating our customers like family since 1955.
Blue Mills, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220. The number one key to healthy, productive plants are the roots. Starting from seed to full-grown plants, rootmaker.com has the answer. From seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots, creating a fabulous root system, never again will you have root-bound plants, to multiple gallon grow bag sizes to raised beds. Rootmaker.com has your grow needs covered. Visit rootmaker.com.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Hallie Berry.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, your destination for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, 840 videos, and a whole lot more, all organic, all about gardening, all to help you grow more of what you like to eat. Well, if you like peaches and other fresh produce directly drove to your neighborhood, you're going to enjoy TreeRipe.com.
If you like fresh produce delivered right to your neighborhood, you should check out Tree Ripe Citrus Company. You can find out where to pick up top quality produce from tree-ripe.com. They have beautiful, tasty peaches and juicy, sweet blueberries. If you're sick of bland, mealy peaches and lackluster blueberries from your local grocer, Tree Ripe has what you need. They come right to a stop in your neighborhood, fresh off the truck, right from the source. For location and schedules, visit tree-ripe.com. They have locations all over, including Iowa, Upper and Lower Michigan, Minnesota, Illinois, and right here in Wisconsin. Tree-ripe.com is your go-to for the freshest produce around.
So, that being said, it's time for the giveaway, and here's how this works. M.I. Gardener has a store of 325-ish plus and gaining more every week, organic and heirloom seeds for 99 cents a pack. And it's not the cheap diddly packs of seeds. For example, 99 cents will get you 100 beets seeds, 50 pepper seeds. You get 40 peas for 99 cents, 80 Swiss chard, 25 tomatoes. Kale, you get 300 seeds. Lettuce, you get 1,000 seeds. Carrots, you get 1,000 seeds for 99 cents. So the requirements is to have a valid email which will get you the voucher. So if you have a valid email and you want to get some free seeds, what we need you to do is call into the ivorganics.com hotline. You'll be the fourth caller at 414-444-5250, and you will be the winner. So you can do that right now. Fourth caller at 414-444-5250, valid email, and then you can win. And you can choose whatever seeds you want. You can go to the website after you get the voucher and choose whatever you want. They ship it to you for free. It's a great, great thing. So while that's going on, we're going to talk about, Holly and I are going to talk about 5 lost vegetables or forgotten vegetables in which you probably are not planting or never planted or haven't thought about planting. So number one here, what do we got, Holly? What's the number one plant here that people forget to plant or don't plant?
Well, I don't know if this is necessarily like from order of importance or anything like that, but this is number one on our list, are leeks.
Leeks are a relative to the onion, doesn't bulb up, and is a magnificent universe. It can be grown anywhere. It's great. We have more success, and we're going to try differently with onions this year, more success with leeks than we have with onions in the past.
Now, some people think leeks are growing like in marshes or bogs for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but that is not true.
No.
They're growing like onions. They're growing in the ground. They're a root crop, but they and if you've never seen a leek itself, it looks like a long, skinny onion, basically.
Yeah.
It's
without a bulb.
Right, without a bulb. It's usually about the thickness of like a broom handle, sometimes thicker, depending on how things go for you.
And the white portion is what people say you're supposed to eat,
right.
But you can eat the whole plant. There's a lot of countries that consume the whole plant.
Well, you don't want to eat the little rooty things.
No, not the roots.
But you want to eat the white part. You can eat the green part.
And some people will take the green part and dehydrate it and use it in flavoring in soups and stews.
Right.
So it's not just the white portion and then compost the rest or throw the rest away. All portions are edible on that. So if you haven't grown leeks, you can buy the starts at Bloomell's when they have them available. It's too late now really to start them from seed, I believe. We started ours about the 9th of January, and we always started onions and leeks at that time of year. What's another one here?
So we have Jerusalem artichokes, which are also called sunchokes.
This is not the globe one. This is ones that grow in the ground. This is a totally different species.
No, these are another root crop, and they are less starchy than a potato. They're kind of similar to a potato, maybe a bit more watery.
Okay, so with that, we had a winner. Okay, we had a caller. We already have the winner. So Jim called in. We've got his information. Congratulations to you, Jim. You will be the winner of a $10 gift certificate from migardner.com.
And if you didn't win this week, don't be sad. We're going to give away another one next week.
Next week, that's right. So tell your friends. I know you don't want to tell your friends because your friends are going to try to call in and beat you to the punch. But 99 cents and Holly can vouch for this. You can talk to anybody who I talk to. Some of the best quality seeds we have ever dealt with.
And the packets are really nice, too. They have a lot of great information.
And we don't say that because they're a sponsor, the official. We don't deal with companies that sell junk. That's just all there is to it. I'm not going to have a company work with us just because they're going to give us money or a product. If their quality doesn't match up to our standards, we say no thank you. So just don't think that that's just a cheap seed company. They take great, extreme pride in their seed quality and quantity that they provide. So Jerusalem artichokes, let's get back to that. Jerusalem artichokes.
So I call them sunchokes. Joey calls them Jerusalem artichokes.
Now we're not.
Whatever you want to call them.
If you're going to eat them, check with your physician. But they are less starchy and better for diabetics.
You don't have to check with your physician, but just keep
do
in
your
mind.
Research.
Yeah, do your research.
We're not responsible.
They are delicious. We've made some interesting things with them, some like hash brown type things. What else do we make with them?
You can. They work very well in stews.
We put them in stews
and crock pot, and they turn in just a buttery, sweet flavor. They are a perennial. You can plant them in the corner of the garden, forget them, or the corner of the yard, forget them, and they will continue to reproduce year after year. There's a lot of natural or wild varieties. Parsnips.
So if you're a lazy vegetable gardener, sunchokes are good for that. So parsnips, they are kind of like a white carrot with more of an earthy, kind of woodier taste to them.
If you're not sure, get one from the store before you grow a bunch of them, because they do take a long time, but they are very, very good in a number of different dishes. You can eat them raw. It's kind of an acquired taste.
Right. Or a lot of people will put them in stews as well because they have that mild carrot flavor or it's kind of hard to describe, but it is kind of similar to a carrot.
Now, strawberries. Now, this is a perennial. But perennials are plants that continue to come back year after year. Annuals are plants you plant once this year, they die, and you have to replant. So strawberries will take about 2 years really to get good established. We've had our strawberry bed in the corner of the garden. It's 120 square feet, and it produces about 15 pounds of strawberries a year. Now, our bed is 7 years old, which is on the higher end. Usually about 5 years is about your max. But it produces the most amount of organic strawberries you ever did see. And
they're really good.
And the thing with the strawberries is our niece, she's allergic to store-bought strawberries. But when she eats the garden strawberries, she has no reaction whatsoever. So what does that say about it?
It says that they're good.
Yeah, they're good. So strawberries, and you can buy the starts. They do cost a little bit. You can either get the bare root or you can get the plant, and they will multiply for you. But that's something you may not think about. You got a spot on the side of the house. Plant some strawberries. June bearing will produce during the June. Everbearing will produce throughout the year. So however you want to go about picking the varieties there. We've got a couple more here. Beets.
Yeah, so we like beets a lot.
Some people don't like beets.
Some people don't like beets. It's kind of one of those you like it or you don't like it, I think. But beets are delicious. They're really good for you, and they're pretty easy to grow. You just put the seeds in some nice loose soil, and what do they take, about 60 days? 60
to 70 days. They'll bulb up. You got to keep the water to them. And not only the bulb, the beet bulb is edible, the greens are edible too.
Right, you can eat the beet
stalks,
greens.
The stalks, don't eat the stalks. We can't, it doesn't work. We don't like
you don't want to eat the stalks, but the greens are fine.
You might want to. I don't. I don't like the stalks.
And then the beets as well. And I have a great pickled beet recipe.
It's on the website.
Yeah, it's on the website. I just get it from one of the canning books. But definitely, if you like beets, then I would suggest growing them.
Yeah, beets are one of those go-to vegetables. Garlic. Now we can't. Some people will plant spring garlic. We don't recommend that. We recommend planting fall garlic, which we plant ours the first Saturday in October. But garlic, you plant in October. You harvest it in June-ish, late May, early June, based on the variety. We plant. Right now we've got 160, 170 cloves of garlic in the ground. We dehydrate it. Roast it. There's so many municipal properties and benefits to
medicinal.
What did I say?
You said municipal.
Oh, okay. All right.
Medicinal
properties to garlic. Roasted garlic is great. Homegrown garlic is better. And I tell people, when you grow your own garlic, whatever the recipe says, back it off by 75%, because the fragrance and the taste, it won't burn your mouth off, but it's so intense and so great compared to that store-bought stuff that typically comes in the big box grocery stores from Europe, Asia, hydroponically grown, mass-produced, not cared about taste, but cared about quantity. So
right, and like Joey said, the garlic is really good for you, and homegrown garlic is just phenomenal. And if you end up with too much, you can dehydrate it, make your own garlic powder.
And about 3 weeks before the garlic is ready, you can harvest the scapes and use them as well. So basically, you're going to get 2 crops for one.
Right.
So another one is non-orange carrots. Many people go to the grocery store and think, oh, there's only orange carrots in the world. There is every color of carrot on the rainbow in the world. The commercial growers will grow orange simply because it is easy. People like it, and that's just what it is. But there are so many colors and so many great tasting carrots out there: purple, red, yellow, white. There's even like a bluish tint carrot, a black carrot. So many heirloom variety carrots out there. So it's not just orange. So I recommend, and it's really fun for kids to grow these carrots because they take about 70 days, good loose soil in a container or in the ground, and they pull them up and they think they're going to be orange, and they're all these different colors. It's really cool to do that.
And they don't taste any different. I don't think they do. They just taste like carrots.
But the difference between a homegrown carrot, regardless of the color, and a store-bought carrot is night and day. You have no comparison whatsoever. And for those of you who have got carrots from the farmer's market or grown your own, you understand what I mean by that statement.
And then there's even like short little carrots too. There's many different varieties of carrots. So even if they're orange still, you could grow some like little short fat carrots or any types of carrots really, and that could be fun too.
Lastly, herbs. Let's not forget about herbs. Some of the most expensive things you buy in the grocery store is those already prepackaged cut herbs. We won't get into it too much this week because next week's second segment we are going to talk in depth about the different herbs in which you should consider planting in your garden. Well, Holly, talking about planting in your garden, when you're going to use tools, you might as well use the best in the market. And when it comes to mowing your grass, there's only one, and there's only number one on the market.
Do you hear that? That's your neighbor shaking in their grass-stained shoes, because Aaron's is about to help you step up your grass-cutting game. Your name is on the mailbox, so Aaron's name should be on your mower. Heavy-duty steel construction, smarter, smoother controls, professional cutting performance. The only thing we love more than the smell of freshly cut grass is the sweet taste of victory. Aaron's, it comes down to this. Visit Arians.com to find your local dealer for lawn and snow removal equipment.
And coming up after the break, Jenny Peterson. She is a breast cancer survivor and an author of the Cancer Survivor's Garden Companion book. We're going to talk to her right after this.
Have a gardening question? Email Joey and Holly at twvgradio@gmail.com.
Oh, yeah. What you say? You say Nasala Kombucha. It'll put some glide in your stride and some pep in your step. Nasala Kombucha. Yeah.
Nasala Kombucha makes your body happy. Nasala Kombucha makes your body smile.
Do you have a little space to grow? Check out Greenstock Vertical Gardens at greenstockgarden.com. Greenstock is engineered to grow with its innovative space and water-saving design. You can grow vegetables, flowers, herbs, and even strawberries in just 2 square feet of space. Grow up instead of out. Perfect for the porch, patio, or deck. Grow up to 30 plants in a small space. GreenstockGarden.com has everything you need to grow in the littlest of spaces. Proudly made in the USA. For more information and to purchase, visit greenstockgarden.com. Beans and Barley Market and Cafe, a neighborhood specialty grocery store for the east side and greater Milwaukee area, where you can find all you need, from fresh produce to bakery to organic frozen dinners, from wine to fresh squeezed carrot juice, a health food store with hundreds of products, vitamins, supplements, bath and body items, magazines, cards, books, and a knowledgeable staff. Catering available, open daily at 8 a.m. The restaurant serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week with a menu of good, healthy, homemade food, including vegetarian and non-vegetarian specialties. 1901 East North Avenue, Milwaukee, 414-278-7878, and online at beansandbarley.com. Really Granola is a small batch Wisconsin-made granola available at reallygranola.com. This granola uses many organic ingredients and features Wisconsin products such as beautiful red Wisconsin cranberries, local honey, and other delicious Wisconsin products. You'll find plenty of fiber and protein in Really Granola, which makes it a great way to start or end your day. This granola is baked in a Wisconsin co-packing kitchen that helps to employ disabled workers. Find Really Granola near you or to buy online, visit reallygranola.com.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Hallie Baird.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, your destination for all things gardening. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, 840 videos, digital magazines, all for free, and a whole lot more to help you be a better gardener. Well, Holly, when we do things, we want to be the best we can be. And if we can be number one, we want to be number one. And when it comes to garden centers, why would you want to go anywhere else than the best garden center in the city? And Blue Mel's was rated first in the Milwaukee A-list, voted best garden center 3 out of the last 4 years, 2013, 14, and 16. And why would you want to go anywhere else?
Well, I don't know, but Blue Mills Garden and Landscape Center is that place. They've been around since 1955, family-owned and operated. The owner of the business actually works in the building. That certainly says something. No matter the size of your garden need, Blue Mills is at 4930 West Loomis Road in Greenfield, and they can supply and surpass all of your garden needs. BlueMills.com or 414-282-4220.
Well, now it's time. We like having guests come in from all over the country, and we're going to go to Austin, Texas to bring in our next guest.
So Jenny Peterson is a breast cancer survivor. Her long road through cancer treatment was hard, emotional, and often deeply depressing. The one thing that pulled her out of the darkness was her desire to be able to garden again. Jenny has a 1-acre lot on the city limits of Austin, Texas, where she gardens, raises 40 chickens, 7 goats, and a potbelly pig. She is the author of the Cancer Survivor's Garden Companion, Cultivating Hope, Healing, and Joy in the Ground Beneath Your Feet. Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, Jenny.
Thank you so much, Holly. Good morning to both you and Joey.
Well, thank you for taking time out of your busy day to join us on the program and share a little bit of your story with our listeners who may be going through some of the same events that you had went through in your life.
if people don't have or haven't had cancer themselves, almost everybody knows who's had cancer, been diagnosed with it. And so I just found that, sharing my own experience with this disease has really been helpful, not only to me, but to so many other people that have read the book and then have this conversation with me. So I'm really happy to be here on your show to do this with you guys.
Well, Jenny, you've got a 1 acre plot. You got a lot of chickens, goats, potbelly pig, and gardening. And gardens. How did you get into gardening? Was this something that your parents did, or was this something you found later on in life?
My parents were gardeners, but they really focused on like very specific things. Like my father was into only growing tomatoes. He only did tomatoes. That was the only edible thing that he did. And then he had this beautiful lawn. And I grew up mostly in San Antonio, Texas. And then the front yard was really pretty, and our house was always the one that got the Yard of the Month award. I don't know if your area has that, but we were the house that always got that. And then my mother was into roses later in her life and a few herbs. And so I was raised in a gardening family, but I really didn't start gardening myself until I was a young mother. And so it's like my late 20s. And then I just started with this big vegetable garden that was actually a little bit too ambitious for my first time out. And it kind of, I was the size of loofahs. And, just learned by doing things the hard way. So, but, once you get that bug, you don't stop. Gardening is just so much fun, and it's healthy too.
It's a good addiction to have.
It is.
So you say it's important to get outside for 10 minutes a day to clear your mind. Where did you come up with this idea, and why is it important?
Well, I would say 10 minutes is, for me, it's sort of that magical sweet spot where even, if you're inside and you're not feeling well, we've all had times like that, whether you have cancer or don't have cancer. There's times when you just don't feel well and you're inside, you're laying on the couch, you're watching TV, and the last thing you want to do is go outside, right? It's hard to get that motivation sometimes. But if you are really stuck in the house and not feeling well, I guarantee you, if you go outside just for 10 minutes, so we say, even if it's just 10 minutes, I'll take that. But I almost can guarantee if someone goes outside for 10 minutes and is in the sunshine and feels the breeze on their face and hears the birds chirping and sees the flowers, the garden just draws you out further. And so if you can stay out there for 10 minutes, you're going to be out there for longer. I can almost guarantee it. But there's just something that happens where the garden it's almost like the garden is putting its arms around you and is saying, you're going to be okay. We've been around for a lot longer than you have, Jenny Peterson, the plants and gardens and the natural world, and it's going to be okay. So that's why I say 10 minutes, just give it 10 minutes when you go outside. And I guarantee you, your mood will turn and you will want to be out there a little bit longer.
Well, for many of our listeners, they may have known somebody or have had this diagnosis upon them. Holly and I have no idea what this might have felt like, but maybe you can share a little bit with us. How did you find out you had breast cancer, and what was that initial thought that first went through your mind when the doctor said, "Here, Jenny, this is what you've got"?
Well, it was back in 2012. So thankfully, though, the good part of the story is that I'm coming up on 5 years of being cancer-free. And actually, they don't say you're cancer-free until 5 years. I don't know if you knew that. So the first 5 years, you're in what they call remission. But in May of this year, I will hit my magic 5-year mark so that I will be told I'm cancer-free. So it was back in May of 2012. I had actually just gotten engaged about 3 weeks prior, maybe 4 weeks prior. And I noticed some changes in one of my breasts that I was not comfortable with, that I knew, if you do your own breast self-exam and you are just familiar with what your body should look like, how it should feel, you are going to be a little bit more in tune to, even some subtle changes. And I knew that what I was seeing was not normal. So that was on a Sunday. I called literally Monday morning. I went in on Tuesday for a diagnostic mammogram. And then it took about 2 weeks to get the diagnosis. It takes longer than people think because they have to, get you in for biopsies and whatnot. So when my doctor called and said, it was a Friday afternoon, And we knew that we were going to be getting the call that afternoon that, yes or no, you have it or you don't have it. And so my then fiance, we're married now, but Brett stayed home that day knowing I was getting that phone call. And really, you guys, it was just a confirmation of what I knew, because what I was experiencing in my body I knew was not normal, and it was not healthy. So I was sure that I had breast cancer. So when I got that phone call that Friday afternoon, it was just a confirmation of what I already knew. And, I did the crying for about an hour, but then here's what I did. We called our friends from across the street over to have happy hour by the garden, because I thought I don't want to stay inside and cry. I mean, this is going to be a long road for me, so I've got to figure out a way to deal with it. And so it's scary. It's very scary. You never think that you're going to be the one that's going to hear those words, but, you just surround yourself with, your good family and friends, and spend some time in the garden and keep yourself active and your mind healthy, and you can get through it.
Absolutely. And 5 years, not everybody's story is as successful or as blessing as yours is. But it brings to note that, our listeners and people who are listening to this on podcast replay, video replay, it's important to do those steps, take those checks, do those breast exams.
Absolutely.
Because that's how you were able to, if you would have just said, oh, it's just one of the things, you might not be talking to us today.
That's exactly right. Another thing I learned is that there's not just one type of breast cancer. There's up to 16 different types, very specific types of breast cancers, and some are much more aggressive than others. And I actually had a type that is very treatable. Others are less treatable. So I was very fortunate on that count. But the quicker you can find it, that's often the better. Some breast cancers want to spread and grow no matter what, but I was lucky. I got mine, I got a kind that is very treatable, and I caught it early. So, yes, everybody do your self-exams and stay up on, your doctor's appointments every year. They're really, really important.
Absolutely. So when you decided to write your book, what was your aha moment where you were like, I'm going to write this book so I can spread information to other people, and what was the inspiration behind your book?
Okay, so, I was diagnosed in 2012, and I spent the rest of that year going through 2 surgeries, 4 chemotherapies, and then 6 weeks of daily radiation, and I got done literally the day before New Year's Eve. And so it took 2013 and 14 to really kind of rebuild my immune system, and my, just get my body and my mind back to being healthy again. And it was during that time I messaged my publisher and I said, hey, I think I want to write a book about how healing and restorative the garden is. There are a lot of books out there that talk about that in a very more of a clinical sense, like for hospitals and nursing homes and treatment centers, for them to have gardens that are healing, but not so much for the home gardener. So I really wanted to write that book. And so very wisely, my publisher, Paul Kelly of St. Lynn's Press, said, what if we really make this book more specific to your cancer survivorship? You have gone through this experience, and would you be comfortable sharing that and being very open with it in this book? And he said, I really even want the word cancer survivor in the title of the book. And I thought about it for about a day, just because I think any good idea should be, even if you think immediately, yes, that's what I want to do, you should really just give it some time and think about it. And I thought, I'm pretty much, no pun intended, but I am pretty much an open book when it comes to, my cancer experience, because I think that's what is helpful to me when people talk to me about their experience. That really helped me when I was going through it. So I want to be a part of that for somebody else as well, or at least give them that opportunity. So when my publisher said, let's really tighten this and make it to about, using your garden to heal when you're going through a really difficult time like cancer. And I'm so, so glad he made that recommendation, because it was a brilliant move, and people have really responded to it.
Well, Jenny, this is not your first book that you've wrote, but one of your most, I'll say it's the most powerful book that you've wrote. Where can people find the book, The Cancer Survivor Garden Companion Book, as well as the other books that you've wrote?
Well, both the Cancer Survivor's Garden Companion and then my first book was called Indoor Plant Decor, the Design Style Book for Houseplants. And so both of them are available on Amazon. So you just do a quick search there. You can go to my blog, JennyNybroPeterson.com. You can buy a copy there, and then I can actually autograph it for you and send it. But then also just look at like Barnes & Noble, a lot of the garden centers are carrying the books, both of the books, and then just independent bookstores wherever you are. So, and if they don't have it when you go in, just ask for it. And most bookstores would be happy to get that for you if you ask for it.
Well, Jenny, so thankful that you've taken time out of your busy day to share your story and the happy ending that your story has for us as well as our listeners.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on, both of you, Joey and Holly. It was just a real pleasure to be here with you today.
Thank you for being here, Jenny.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And we'll be back right after this with your questions and our answers to those questions right after this.
Have a gardening question? You can call into the ivorganic.com hotline at 414-444-5250 right now.
Mycorrhizae is a beneficial fungus from PlantSuccess.com that will greatly increase your plant's germination, ability, and a healthier root structure. You can increase seed sprouting, root growth, and general plant germination. Mycorrhizae can be used with hydroponics, root cutting, seed sprouting, coco coir, and soil. PlantSuccess.com carries powder, granule, and tablet forms of mycorrhizae. Increase the level of mycorrhizae in your soil for your plants to give them the optimal opportunity to produce an incredible harvest. For more information and to purchase, visit PlantSuccess.com.
Garden seeds do not have to cost a fortune. Just 99 cents at migardener.com. With over 300 varieties of non-GMO, heirloom, and organic flower, vegetable, and herb seeds available year-round, pay less and get more seeds. Shipping as low as $2.50. That just makes sense. Go to migardener.com for seeds and gardening needs, tools, and special blend fertilizer. migardener.com. It's that simple. Family owned and operated. Mantis Plant Protection Professional Grade Organic Pest Control Solutions. They offer Mantis EC concentrated or ready-to-use sprays, certified organic and environmentally friendly insect killer, gentle on pollinators and other organisms, but effective in killing soft-bodied insects and spider mites fast. Safe around your children and pets. They also have the cleanest and whitest diatomaceous earth on the market. Visit mantispp.com to receive a free organic pesticide cheat sheet, which is a list of organic insecticides that are used effectively and kills insects fast. Visit mantispp.com to download it today. Do you have a problem with deer or small herbivores eating your vegetation? There is a natural solution that is safe for your pets and family. Bobex is the answer. An environmentally friendly solution to protect your plants, will not wash off, and is guaranteed. Bobex Deer was independently tested against 9 known competitors and rated 93% effective, second only to a physical barrier. Bobex can be used on all types of ornamentals, trees, and shrubs. Ask for it by name at your local independent garden center. Find out more, visit bobex.com. BOBBEX.com.
I want a garden center that listens to and understands my needs.
I want to buy my gardening products from a local business with strong ties to the community.
All I want is a garden center that truly values their customers.
It seems like everyone is selling plants these days, but I'm having a hard time finding quality.
I take pride in my garden, so I want my garden center to take pride in their products.
Where will you be going for all of your gardening needs this season? Blue Mel's Garden Center. We are your answer.
Blue Mel's, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220.
Traditional gardening, raised bed, or container gardening, Joey and Holly are here to get the most out of it. It's the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.
It's the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show. WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, your destination for all things gardening. 840 videos, digital magazines, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and a whole lot more to help you grow more of what you want to and enjoy eating. You're welcome to call into the ivorganics.com hotline for your questions at the top of the hour. IV Organics.
And that's at 414-444-5250. IV Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard naturally protects plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents. Protects newly installed plants and trees. Shields pruned and damaged surfaces for use on your roses, fruit, and nut trees. ornamental trees and shrubs. This product is non-toxic, environmentally safe, and organic. For more information, visit ivorganics.com.
And we're going to go right to the ivorganics.com hotline. Caller, you've got a question or comment?
Good morning. I have another carrot question.
Okay.
I cooked some regular carrots in a pot, stainless steel pan with water and nothing else. They were not organic. The next night, I said, the water's a little bit orange. I'm going to save those nutrients and drink the water the next day. When I got home, just the very next day, the water was green. Do you have any opinion that maybe it was because the lab that they were grown in or something, and maybe the importance of me eating organic vegetables instead of what I'm buying?
Well, I don't really have an answer for you as to why the water was green. It was probably just some reaction with the oxygen in the air. But typically, there has been studies proven that if you remove the organics from your diet, that means that the organics will, or the toxins, if you remove the toxins from your body or from your diet, it means you will also remove the toxins from your body. There was a study.
No, if you remove the toxins from the food.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. If you remove the toxins from the food in which you were eating.
Right. So if you remove the toxins from the food in which you're eating, you're also going to remove the toxins from your body. There was a study done, I think it was in Switzerland, where they took a urine samples from a family. They removed all of the conventional products from their house for, I believe it was a month. Then they did another urine test, and there was very limited traceable amounts of toxins in their urine. So it is proven. Now, eating organic is not always 100% possible for everybody, but there are root crops will take up a lot of toxins, and there's actually something called the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen, and we can always talk about it, but there are some vegetables that are more susceptible to being sprayed with pesticides and toxins versus ones that aren't.
So with your carrots, it may have been the oxygenation of the water that sat there over the day, some type of reaction to the pot that it was cooked in as well. So don't have a scientific reason for that, but that's about the best that we can come up with.
And
here.
I can give you here, I looked up, hopefully I can find it. Give me 1 second. Maybe not. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
So
I appreciate your help.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so the top, you can look this up online as well, and we can always talk about this maybe next week. But the top 5 shopper's guide to pesticides in produce are strawberries, spinach, nectarines, apples, and peaches. And those 5 are the ones that have the highest amount of pesticides sprayed on them.
Okay. I have to do something with them. I'll start buying organic spinach.
And
Thank you.
You're welcome. And in a couple of, maybe not too far in the future, farmers markets will begin to open up, and many of them, if not all of them, are certified organic or organic-based.
Not all of them. You definitely,
have to ask.
If you have concerns, you can feel free to talk to your farmers. The farmers don't mind those questions. They encourage them. So if you do go to the farmers market and you're unsure about their growing practices, feel free to ask them, because they will answer those questions for you.
And we'll go to the email, twvgradio@gmail.com. We had several questions come in this week. You can always email us 24/7, 365 on that email, twvgradio@gmail.com, with your gardening questions. And Richard emailed us this week in regards to some raised beds. Holly, you want to read that question? I'll answer that.
Sure. So Richard says, I'm switching to raised bed gardening. He's in Madison, and I have a conventional in-ground garden for 3 years. I plan to have plots at 4 by 12 by 1. What can you suggest for a good soil mix?
Well, let's say he's in Madison, so that's a different market. But for some of you who are in Milwaukee who are looking to do a raised bed situation, you can always... a soil mix, we always go with Sioux Growing Supply. They're out of Wausau. They do distribute in several of the stores here in Milwaukee. You could also go to Blue Mills and ask them to buy special from them, and they will accommodate you to do that. But a new garden, you would want to go with a garden blend. That's a variety of soil that Sioux Growing Supply has. And it's, you're going to invest 2 4x12s, which that's 48 square feet a piece. You're looking at almost 4 cubic yards of soil, give or take a little bit. So it's an investment, but again, instant garden. You put your frame up, you put your soil in, you plant right away. You don't have to worry about weeding or any of that stuff like we talked about in the first segment. So that way you can go about do it. Now, and it's not really a concern here, but more in Dane County, is the jumping worm problem. There's a disease that is in some of these leaves. So if you're going to source compost, you kind of want to ask the questions, is the compost, where's the source of the compost coming from? And Sioux Growing Supplies goes through rigorous testing and making sure that their soil and their compost is 100% clean, that doesn't contain that jumping worm that a lot of the central Wisconsin counties are experiencing now.
So real quickly,
let's go to Ken. Ken had a question.
Yeah, so Ken emailed us, and he said he's considering trying the straw bale gardening. And as you know, as we talked about during our first week, you do have to condition your straw bale before you grow in it. And he wants to know if he can use urea as a nitrogen source for his straw bale. Urea is a nitrogen source, and you can use it.
It's urea is a term that's used more in agriculture, big ag, rather than commercial garden home and centers. Urea is about 46% nitrogen-based. To condition the straw bale, the book says that you want at least a 20% nitrogen. That's the first number on your fertilizer bag to get the conditioning correct in the straw bale. We've ran anywhere from 8 to 14, 15% nitrogen on our conditioning, and it's worked very well. So urea will work. And then he also had a question about, does the chlorine in the city water have does it kill the microbial life in the bale or in the soil? Because that's really all he has at his garden, and it doesn't. That's a myth that we didn't get to a couple of weeks ago in our debunking segment. The microbial life, chlorine, it will kill some microbial life, just like some things will. That's what will happen, but it doesn't destroy and kill the ecosystem of the microbial life in the soil. So you can go ahead and water your garden or water your straw bale with municipal water that contains chlorine. That's not a problem. Where you can get into problems is like Flint, Michigan type of water systems that contain a lot of hard poisoned metals and lead and all that. That's where the problem will come in of poisoning the soil in your garden or your straw bale. So chlorine's not a problem. It's the other toxin metals that the city may or may not be taking out that can be the problem. So a good water filter, if you have a concern, a good water filter attached to your outdoor or indoor for drinking capabilities is something you want to be aware of. Diane had a question about grow bags.
So she wants to know where do we get our grow bags from? Where do we find them?
Well, we get all of our grow bags, and now we are getting pre-made raised beds from rootmaker.com. They're a sponsor here on the radio program. We have a number of videos in which we use them. They have a white canvas coating around them. A lot of these grow bags have just a black felt type of material. The white coating is beneficial for a couple of reasons. One, it's aesthetically pleasing. If you have a white house or a light colored house, it looks very nice. As well as it holds some heat in, but it doesn't burn the roots like a traditional black grow bag does. Because if those roots get too hot, those roots will fry. And if you can keep the roots cool on many, if not all of your vegetables, fruits, plants, you're going to have a productive plant. But if those roots get too hot and the container dries out too quickly, you're not going to have a plant at all. And they grow bags come in everywhere from, let's see, I'm going to name them off, 1 gallon, 3, 5, 7, 15, 20, 25, 30, 45, and 60-gallon round grow bags.
And then they also have a pop-up raised bed type of deal, too.
2x4 foot and a 4x4 foot raised bed. And in any of these grow bags are 15 inches high, but you only need to fill them about 10 inches high. 10 to 12 inches is the max. You don't need to top them off. You can stretch your soil out a little bit more in that. Well, we appreciate you tuning in this week to the program. Just to let you know, next week we want to tune in because, one, we've got the giveaway, another $10 gift card giveaway from migardener.com. You just have to have a valid email address, as well as how much can you really plant in your garden. We're going to crunch the numbers so you know what you can really put in your garden regardless of the size. And herbs, what do you need to grow to save money so you can get the most out of the herb instead of having to buying it from the store. And author of multiple #1 selling books and garden radio talk show host of The Weekend Gardener from Nova Scotia, Canada, Nikki Jabor will be with us. And sponsors make this show possible.
Nassala Kombucha is the executive sponsor of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show. Nassala is made in Wisconsin with local tea and natural herbs. Look for it in the refrigerator aisle at your local grocer. If you don't see it, ask for it, because if it's not Nassala Kombucha, it's not kombucha. Find more information at nassala.com. And
miss any portion of this show or want to revisit past shows, you can go to the radio tab on the website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. Get downloadable podcast of previous shows as well as in-studio video of what goes on right here during the show. Until next week,
we will see you in the garden. Oh, I'm Holly Baird.
And I'm Joey Baird, and we will see you in the garden.
WNOV 860 and W293CX 106.5 Milwaukee.